Well, good morning, everyone. Is anyone else walking on sunshine, enjoying the sunny weather? Some nods, okay. Yes. Well, you are bringing light by being here, by bringing your good energy and your support for ELAP and the Breakfast for Justice. So thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate your support and all you are going to do today. My name is Angela Poe Russell, and I will be your MC for this morning. I hope you're feeling energized because we're going to do some great stuff today for ELAP and, by extension, the community. I want to start by acknowledging the land that we are gathered on. As you know, as many of you know, ELAP works throughout King County, and we want to acknowledge that King County is the traditional land of the Duwamish tribe and other Coast Salish people, as well as home to the Muckleshoot and Snoqualmie tribes. We recognize them and honor them with our gratitude for their stewardship of this land. Okay, I want to be frank with you. In fact, I think we put it on the slide when you were walking in. Turbulent times do call for strong support. And that's why we are here today, to champion civil legal aid in our community. ELAP works on behalf of hundreds of low-income King County families that depend on free legal help every year. ELAP protects and empowers families facing eviction, women and children who are trying to escape abuse, domestic violence, community members experiencing a health crisis or financial struggles. And we know that justice starts with us, with all of us. So thank you so much for all that you do in this community. Okay, I want to feel out who is in the room because this is my first Breakfast for Justice. Do we have any other first-timers here today? This is your first? Yes, okay. So we're here. Yep, we're learning more about ELAP and all the great stuff. So let me start. I want to call out some folks. So in the room, let's see, who works for a nonprofit? Any nonprofit folks here? Work for a nonprofit? Okay, I love it. All right. What about if you're a government employee, a civil servant, or an elected official? Okay, any elected officials, will give you a hug later if you have, okay? That's tough. Judges or clerks in the room? Judges or clerks, okay? Some of you doing double duty, thank you. What about attorneys or other legal professionals? Oh, there's a laugh. Yes, yes. Listen, we need you. And any other community members, supporters, you're just part of the community and you're here to help. Anyone like that? Yes, like me, thank you so much. Whatever sector of the community you are from, just know that you make a difference, and we are so grateful for that. Okay, we have a wonderful program in store for you today. You're going to get a glimpse into ELAP's impact, including the personal story of a recent client. We also have a fabulous keynote speaker, Washington State Supreme Court Justice Sal Mungia. And again, you are a very important part of this event. That's because Breakfast for Justice is at the heart of ELAP's largest annual fundraising campaign. And you will have a chance this morning to tangibly support ELAP and the work that we do. Our goal by the end of this hour is to raise $200,000. And I know we can do it, and it's going to provide critical funding so that we can do this impactful work. The great news is that thanks to so many community members, we are already off to a great start, and we're keeping track of this all courtesy of a thermometer. So hopefully I'll do my best Vanna White, and it will pop up, and we'll see how much we've raised so far. Let's see. Okay, we're at 100. Okay, I love this. Technology, $116,000, so more than halfway there. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we'll be checking in on the thermometer a little bit later. So more than halfway there. We've got this, right? We got this. Okay, I'd like to introduce someone who is into his 10th year as ELAP's executive director. Please welcome to the stage, Jerry Crone.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here on such a beautiful day. I hope you get out of here today and enjoy the sunshine. It's going to be a great day outside. It means a lot to have you here to support us. My job is to do thank yous. So I'm going to start right off. I'd like to thank, first of all, our presenting sponsor, Microsoft. Okay, there we are. I'd like to also thank our premier sponsors, Amazon and Perkins Coie. And I'd like to thank our sustaining sponsors, Davis Wright Tremaine, T-Mobile, and Wilson Sonsini Foundation. And then also, please join me in thanking the sponsors. You can see our leadership sponsors and championship sponsors on the screen. As you heard Angela mention, our goal today is to raise $200,000 to ensure that we can keep doing the work that we do. So a big round of applause for our table captains and our virtual fundraising captains who are leading us towards that. It's an honor to lead ELAP and support this group. And we have a special group, which is our board of directors, who meet throughout the year, guiding us, helping us. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but I'd like them to stand. Board of directors. And in addition to those board volunteers, we have about 90 people that volunteer with us every year, from pro bono attorneys, legal interns, office volunteers. And so I'd like to thank them too. We can't do this without our partnerships with our fellow nonprofits, our city and county agencies, and community-based organizations. We have a network. We all work together, and we try to explain this every time we talk to funding agencies, how we can't do it without each other. And so what I'd like right now is the nonprofit people to please stand and be acknowledged. And then lastly, I'd like to thank our staff. You know, this is we're in a weird time. Excuse me. And it shows that that our staff every day shows up with resilience, with adaptability, and deep compassion. They meet the challenges of this work with grace, always putting clients first and listening closely to what our community needs most. It's an honor to stand beside them. Staff, stand up. And of course, you know, you can't do a breakfast without a boss. So really a special shout out to Alex Comstock, our development director. This is Alex's 8th year, I want to say, right, Alex? 7 years? Okay, next year will be 8, because you're going to stick around. You don't get to leave, ever. But to wrap up, I do feel compelled to share right now that nonprofits across the country are facing serious threats from pending legislation and executive orders that could undermine the work that we do. Proposed orders could jeopardize a nonprofit's 501c3 status, limit our charitable giving, impose new restrictions on who nonprofits are allowed to serve. These changes would not only shrink our resources, but also erode our ability to advocate and support for the most marginalized in our communities. So we will continue to speak up, and we will continue to speak out, because this work affects everybody in our community, and we have 36 years history here in this room of doing this work, and we're not going to stop. So I do want to thank you for helping us navigate these challenges. It's going to be a year. That's all I'm going to leave it at that. It's going to be a year, and may even be 4 years. But we're going to navigate it, we're going to get through it, and we're going to come out the other side stronger and better than we are today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for grounding us in that, and for your inspiring words, and for your work that you do throughout the year.
Our next speaker is on the front lines of ELAP's work. It's the Domestic Violence Legal Program Unit. The team of 4 works directly with ELAP clients. ELAP, by the way, empowered more than 450 survivors of domestic violence in the past year. 1 year, 450 survivors, helping them get DV protection orders, creating parenting plans, plan for divorce, make arrangements to keep themselves and their children safe. ELAP staff attorneys, they really do face complex challenges as they work to provide legal advice and resources to domestic violence survivors. To share more about this work, please welcome to the stage one of ELAP's staff attorneys, Nida Javed.
Good morning. I'm honored to speak about ELAP's work as part of the Domestic Violence Prevention Team. Before I joined ELAP's staff attorney, I volunteered in its family law clinics for about a year. That time showed me how even a little legal help at any stage of the case can truly transform lives. This experience rekindled my passion for civil legal aid and brought me here full time. Having worked as both volunteer and staff attorney at ELAP, I can attest that at the heart of ELAP's mission is ensuring fair and equal access to the justice system, and our domestic violence team embodies that mission daily. You have probably heard the statistic that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. For many survivors, the abuse does not end when the relationship does. It simply shifts to a new battleground, the legal system. While still carrying the weight of their trauma, survivors are forced to navigate a legal system that's often just as overwhelming as the abuse they escaped. Obtaining protection orders, filing for divorce, and negotiating parenting plans are only a few of the many legal challenges they face next, all while trying to stay safe. At ELAP, we step in at these critical moments, offering trauma-informed advocacy that meets survivors where they are. While many arrive deeply shaken and distrustful of the system that is meant to protect them, our attorneys provide more than legal assistance. They rebuild trust, restore dignity, and renew hope. We do that by prioritizing obtaining and renewal of protection orders, initiating family law cases, and litigating family law motions to provide survivors and their children with immediate protection, stability, and financial relief. This year, we have seen a 65% increase in the number of people our team served. In response to the growing demand, we expanded our team of attorneys to serve more clients and reduce wait times. We launched a dedicated clinic to assist clients in drafting their protection order and family law forms and prepare them for their protection order hearings. We conducted specialized training for domestic violence advocates to help them support survivors in their legal processes. We met with the King County Facilitator's Office to explore resources to support unrepresented clients in family law proceedings. We also achieved a significant legal milestone. We got an appellate case published that now requires lower courts to consider the safety of the survivor parents when ordering parenting plans in cases involving domestic violence. This decision sets a precedent that strengthens protections for survivors across the state. Beyond domestic violence, overall demand for ELAP has surged. This past year, the pandemic-era housing protections were rolled back, which increased the need of our housing team's services. Our housing team prevented 329 families from getting evicted and stabilized their housing situations. Overall, our intake system has been flooded with requests for legal help. So, we hired 2 bilingual coordinators to assist our non-English speaking clients who make up 15% of our clientele. We served 50% more clients through our legal clinics, thanks to our pro bono attorneys. We launched the Family Guardianship Clinics to support immigrant communities facing challenges due to recent federal policies. Legal challenges rarely exist in isolation. They are connected to housing, employment, and healthcare issues. Through collaborations with domestic violence services, housing nonprofits, and other social services, we address the root causes of instability, not just the symptoms. So, Thank you for standing with ELAP and supporting our mission. Your support is not just a gift, it's an act of justice, fueling our work to protect the most vulnerable. With funding cuts closing many programs, our community's options shrink while the need grows. We are committed to meeting those needs, but we can't do it without you. We're deeply grateful to have you with us. Thank you.
Nida, thank you so much for sharing more details about your work and for all that you do every day for ELAP and for this community. We appreciate you. One more round of applause for Nida and the entire team in that unit. So this next story is going to shed even more light on ELAP's impact. You know, all of you know the legal system was not, it wasn't designed for the average person to navigate. That is clear. Sometimes a person's financial livelihood can hinge on their ability to know and exercise their legal rights. For older adults, the system can seem even more frustrating and difficult to navigate. So I'd like you to turn your attention to the screen to meet Anita.
I'm Anita West. I'm 85 years old. I like to go to church. I like to go to the park, summer, winter, and fall, just to get out the house. When I left the place, I cleaned the room. Everything is just nice and clean as much as I can, right? But the damage is like the fan in the bathroom is loose, clunk, 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 clunk. And they charged me for that, and they charged me for not cleaning the carpet. So they charged me over $1,000. I can't afford paying $1,000. $1,000 is just not easy to grab the money for senior citizen.
Anita contacted ELAP because she had moved and she had some outstanding charges from her previous residence. She contacted them. She was in the right, but she was just being ignored.
They don't treat the senior right, you know. If you ask some questions, sometimes they slam the door on you. Is that the way you treat senior citizen?
Anita's case isn't unique. The issues that she's facing, a lot of seniors are facing. It's very easy to overlook them. It's very easy to ignore their voice. And it becomes harder and harder to advocate for yourself as you age.
How can a senior citizen pay the rent like that? Do you want us to move in the street because we cannot afford the rent? So I was at the senior citizen place right here in Kent, and I asked for a lawyer for senior people. Then they give me the telephone number. And he helped me right away. He did help me right away. That was good.
I was able to review the charges that her landlord was alleging, and I was able to identify that the charges were illegal and that her landlord had not followed the Residential Landlord-Tenant Act.
I was so happy and proud because they finally give me my deposit, because a lot of people, they don't get their deposit back.
There's a lot of our clients who are facing charges. They may seem small to you and I, but they make a huge difference in our clients' lives. Anita's a perfect example. This was something that was impacting her health. It was causing her a lot of stress. It was preventing her from engaging in her life. And to have that threat, it really helps to have an advocate. We can help them understand what that means. We can help them understand what their remedies might be, and we can walk them through the process, because it's an intimidating and frightening process for a lot of people.
I am thankful that there's a place that for senior that will help you if you need help.
It's rewarding, to give Anita peace of mind. That's a pretty awesome thing to do.
I'm happy in life. For 85, what else can you do? Just enjoy life. Enjoy life as much as I can.
We are so grateful for Anita for sharing her story with us. You know, for me personally, on one hand, I'm so glad that ELAP was able to be there, the attorneys, the staff, and at the same time, I'm saddened because I know there are many more people like Anita. But this is where you come in because you can make a difference by supporting ELAP and the work that they are doing. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, our goal is to raise $200,000, and I want you to be part of helping us reach our goal in the most meaningful way, the best way that you can. And I'll give you 3 different ways to give, whether you are a tech person or you're a little more analog, we have all the things, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through this. On your printed program, there is a QR code. So you can find that right now. You'll see the QR code, and you can scan that and start that way. You can visit, you can text, and I'm going to demonstrate because we can do it. So there's the QR code in your program. You can also text, and all you need to do is text ELAP 2025, so ELAP 2025 to the number 44321. So let's see, I'm gonna do my part now. Texting 44321. And then you just text ELAP 2025. It was way faster when I practiced it. But you get in front of the audience and you get a little nervous. So it happens. But it's for a good cause, right? How are we doing? Okay. I sent my text. Yay! And it came back. Is anyone else having success? That's awesome. Okay. Another way to give, if you don't want to do the QR codes or the texting, we have some paper donation slips, and that's perfectly fine too. So you'll find those on your table. You can just fill out the slip and donate. One thing that I want to mention, because sometimes you really want to help and maybe this isn't the best time to give a certain amount, but you want to do more, you can take advantage of the monthly donation. And you'd be amazed at how that little bit every month can just go a long way. So just want you to think about the monthly donation option. And then I always say, vote with your dollars, vote with your values. So, if ELAP is something you value, make it part of your monthly plan, your monthly budget plan. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit while you're going to transition to my other mic.
I get 2 because I'm the MC. Okay. I want to tell you a little bit about, as you're thinking about what you like to give, the impact that you can have. At the $2,500 level, you can fund 25 hours of legal help. 25 hours. That's a huge impact, and that could be at one of ELAP's free clinics. At the $1,000 level, you can ensure that the survivor of domestic violence gets critical advice as they seek safety from their abuser, and that is the equivalent of $85 a month. So just $85 a month, you reach that point, and that's the impact that you can have. At the $500 level, you can have a chance to provide 4 community-based groups with free Know Your Rights seminars to their residents or members. So $500, again, you can break that down monthly and take these seminars, this advice, this free legal help into the community. At the $250 level, you can fund a free legal consult for someone facing eviction from their home. And as you saw in that video, there was stuff that was happening to Anita that wasn't right. And the ELAP stepped in there. So you're helping prevent homelessness with a gift of $250. And our final level this morning, the $100 level, you can give a senior or veteran in crisis access to free advice at an ELAP clinic, $100. So thank you so much. Our goal is to raise $200,000. Is this where I can check in? Well, yeah, let's check in with the thermometer. Let's see where we are. I know some of you are giving online. Look, we're already up to $137,000 just in. So some folks are really good at the texting and the QR codes, but obviously some folks are going to be bringing in their checks, however you do it. And don't forget about your company match, because that can just double your impact depending on where you work. And let's see, do we have some names? Oh, we have names on the screen. Stephanie, thank you so much for your gift. Paul, Susan, thank you. Andrea, thank you so much for your gift. It all makes a difference. You heard, just at all of these levels, the impact that you make, and it all adds up. So thank you so much for your gift. Shannon, thank you so much for your gift to ELAP. Kenneth, thank you. Boy, we didn't have this 10 years ago. Do we I like it. It's real time. We can see. Esperanza, thank you so much for your gift this morning. All right, we are up and what I love is that I mean, the amount is great, and we'll get to the $200,000 between the matching, and obviously you're going to share this with your friends, right? You're going to share ELAP's work with your friends, social media. But I love that we have 156 people who are saying, I'm in on this. So thank you so much, Jennifer and Kurt. We appreciate your generosity. I love seeing that thermometer to go up. Okay, we're going to let these donations keep rolling in. And meanwhile, I want to introduce someone or bring someone up to the stage to introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker today is, well, actually, I'll let her do that because that's her job. So please welcome to the stage Joanna Boyson, Chief Impact Officer with Davis Wright Tremaine.
Good morning. We're gathered here at breakfast, barely caffeinated, questionably awake, not just to raise critical funds for this truly remarkable organization, but also to recommit to a belief truly worth getting out of bed for this early in the morning. And that's that justice should not be a privilege, it should be a promise. This belief is at the very heart of ELAP's mission-critical work, and it also pulses through the life and leadership of today's keynote speaker, Justice Sal Mungia, the son of immigrants, a proud Tacoma native, and a decades-long pro bono champion. His story is shaped by determination, dignity, and an unwavering commitment to lead with humility and heart. I experienced this firsthand when I agreed to co-chair his Washington State Supreme Court campaign last year. What I thought might be a fun side hustle turned out to be a full-time second job. And I can tell you that I loved every single minute of it. One moment from the campaign trail that makes me smile, even today, is when I called the WSBA to request a mailing list. We needed that for support Sal, communications and things like that. And the person I spoke to came across as like slightly annoyed, like, what do you need? You have to fill out the form. And I said, okay, well, she's like, you didn't go through the right process. And I said, well, it's for Sal Mungia. And the tone shift was so seismic. It went from frosty to like full on fan club mode. And she said, Sal, why didn't you say so? I love Sal. Did you know he made cookies for the entire office? They're dangerously delicious. Man, he's the best. And I got my list like immediately, right? And this story tells you so much about what you need to know about Justice Mungia. He is the best. Not only is he a brilliant jurist, he's an empath who cares so deeply about others. And he doesn't just interpret the law. He honors and cares about the lives behind it. And this morning, we have the privilege of hearing from him. Please join me in welcoming a public servant, my dear friend, and a cookie whisperer who gives Betty Crocker a run for her money, Justice Sal Mungia.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Ohio gozaimasu. Oh, wow, that is really good. Usually there's like two people who can say that. I love being here this morning. It's early this morning, but I have a question for all of you. Why are you here? Right? It is 7:30 in the morning. At least it was 7:30 when this program got started. You could still be probably in bed. You could get extra sleep this morning. I know for you attorneys that you aren't making money by being here, right? Why are you here? I am really curious, what drives you to care about people that most of you will never, ever meet? What drives you to try to make a difference for the lives of people, as you heard, who really don't have a voice? What drives you to be here this morning to give of yourselves your time in the hopes of making this world just a little bit better. Let me just share with you my story, if I could, about why I'm here. As Joanna told you, I am the son of immigrants. I was born in 1959. Yes, I am that old. So I was raised in the 60s. And at that time, society was much tougher. Not that it's a cakewalk now, but it was much tougher on people of color. It was much tougher on immigrants. Not that, again, immigrants aren't having a tough time now. Racism was pretty much in your face, and I saw that daily growing up. My mom came from Japan. My dad came from Mexico. At that time, the stereotypes of Japanese were that they were sneaky and dishonest. You could not trust them. Remember, this was not long after World War II. I grew up hearing about Pearl Harbor Day every December. Mexicans were lazy and dirty. That was the caricature of my family. And we didn't have much. It's not like I grew up dirt poor, but certainly there wasn't a lot of extras in there. My parents were working class people. My dad spent over 20 years in the Army, then became a cook at Western State Hospital. My mom worked in a fabric store as a clerk. So we didn't have much power, if any power. Skin color was different, and especially my mom. She had this heavy Japanese accent, difficult for people to understand her. And I saw from a very young age how people with more power could take advantage of my parents because they had no power. They had no voice. So at that time, I remember in second grade, I used to walk home from school by myself and come into an empty house and watch two rerun shows. One was a show called Gilligan's Island, but the other show was about this lawyer. And I saw how this lawyer could make a difference for other people, how this lawyer could speak on behalf of people. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. From second grade, I was going to follow in the footsteps of Perry Mason. And I never wavered from that. Never wavered. Because I said, this kind of stuff isn't going to happen to me or my family. What I saw happening to my parents. So, move ahead. Graduated from law school, did a couple of clerkships. And I've been very lucky. One of the first things I did when I joined my law firm, I called up the ACLU and said, I want to be a cooperating attorney. I want to be able to start speaking up on behalf of people who can't speak up on behalf of themselves. And for 38 years, I had that privilege. I had that opportunity. I was lucky. I was able to speak up for people just like Anita there, and it does make such a huge difference. And let me tell you, you always get more out of that than you will ever give to them. And I'm not just saying that as some sort of trite saying. Trust me, you will get more out of that than you will ever be able to give to them. I was able to represent people incarcerated in jails on class action lawsuits, federal district court. I was able to represent people detained at the Northwest Detention Center to protect their First Amendment rights, all the way to protecting people over little amounts of money, which would be little to you and me, but makes a difference between having a home and not having a home for so many people. Let me just share one story with you, if I might, this morning. So I used to also, besides taking on pro bono cases, go down and volunteer at our neighborhood legal clinic, which is great. Gives people a chance to meet with an attorney who otherwise would never, ever be able to talk to an attorney. But with most things, what you find out, you have to have some boundaries, right? You always have to have some boundaries. Shoot, I'm already doing pro bono work. I'm in private practice. Yes, I had to make a living. So I made sure that people that I met with would know those boundaries. I told them, look, I've got half an hour of my time. That's what we're set up for. And I can almost guarantee you that whatever problems you have, I am not going to be able to solve within that half hour. Right? Whatever brought you here, likely I am not going to be able to solve. But what I can do is kind of tell you what the lay of the land is, right? Maybe give some reality into what you're facing and help you with your options. And the other thing that I always tell them is, you know what? I don't take on representations from the clinic. That's another boundary. Are you kidding? I wouldn't have any private clients anymore because I'd just be doing these clients. One day, this woman named Dalia comes in, and she tells me that this used car place had swindled her. Do you know how many times I've heard that story? Used car place that swindled someone? Yeah, a ton of times. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. You can't tell. But Dalia was a little bit different because she said, and I got a judgment. My eyes kind of opened up. You got a judgment against this? And she said, yes. So $800, and I got this judgment, and I sent them to them. And they just simply didn't respond. Oh my gosh. That's my parents all over again, right? Those with power can just simply ignore those who have absolutely no power. And she said, yeah, I got this judgment about 9.5 years ago. Yes, for you attorneys in here who know that, a judgment's only good for 10 years. And 800, she said, I've gone to attorneys, I've gone to civil legal aid. No one can help me. I'm going, shoot. I see my mom sitting across from me, right? No one will help her. So I said, Dalia, you can't tell anybody this. I'm going to represent you. And so I did. And when I found out she got this judgment in small claims court, which I didn't know, isn't really a judgment. So you've got to get this perfected in superior court, which I had no clue as to how to do. That's one thing. Anybody's doing pro bono work, you can learn this stuff. People are there to help you. And I will give a shout out to the King County Bar because they had on their website how to perfect a small claims judgment. So I went on there. We learned how to do that. So we had to go to Superior Court to get a real judgment. Oh, before I did that too, I should let you know, I wrote a letter because, at that time, and I still try to do that. Don't try to be a jerk of an attorney, right? So I wrote a letter to the car place and said, look, I represent Dalia. She tells me that she has this judgment that you haven't paid. I'm enclosing a copy of it. If you think you've paid that, let me know. I need to know that. But if you haven't paid that, I would really appreciate you paying it so that I don't have to do, if you will, I didn't say it quite in those terms, but so I don't have to do a ton of work and I can still satisfy my client. Well, they blew me off as well. Blew me off because they've got the power, right? Well, yeah, but I've got a law degree, so at least it's a fair fight. So we perfected that judgment, and I've been told this is legal, and I keep on saying it's legal, hopefully that it is, because we hired a private investigator who could somehow, I don't know how, find out in that car company's bank account how much money they had and what accounts they had. Okay, I got a couple of people nodding head. Thank you so much for that affirmation. And much to my surprise, they had two accounts. One had literally like $7 in it. And the other one had a negative balance. And I'm going through the statement, but I see that for 2 days each month, there's an influx of money before it's drained out. Somebody said a yup, so you know about this scam here. So I told my paralegal, I said, sincere, we're going to garnish this account, and this is the day that we're going to try and make sure I'll say my prayers that night before you say your prayers, and let's hope. And by that time, of course, the $800 judgment, I tried to rack up as much as I could, interest, statutory attorney fees, whatever I could get. So it's about $2,000. So we did that. And once in a while, yes, David does beat Goliath. And this is one of those stories. We got the judgment. And let me tell you, Dalia, not only just the money, but I think the vindication, right? The vindication that a wrong has been righted. A wrong has been righted. And that's... And let me tell you that, that's one of many stories. So if anybody, again, you want to do pro bono work, it is, you're going to carry that with you. I'll carry that with me long before, after Delia leaves this earth. Well, maybe not, because I'll leave the earth first. But until I leave, I'll be carrying that story. So the thing I want to just kind of ask of you this morning is, don't delay. Don't delay. For those of you who work out, and I try to work out, there's an old saying, you won't find time to work out. You have to make time. You won't find time to do pro bono. Let me tell you, you guys are super busy. Let me tell you, whatever you're doing, you are super busy. You won't find that time. You'll say next year. Next year, I know that things will be a little bit better. Kids will be a little bit older. Situation will be a little bit better. The problem with that is you're risking the fact that next year will never come for a variety of reasons. And let me just share with you 2 quick stories about redemption here. Because sometimes maybe life will give you a chance to redeem yourself and you'll get that chance, but other times it may not. I used to work downtown Tacoma. We had a Starbucks 2 blocks away. You know, I'd go there every morning for my cup of coffee. One winter morning, you could tell a person that is unhoused asked me for some money for coffee. And I say this with shame. You can tell I still tear up a little bit because I walked past them. You know, where was my humanity? Went to get my coffee, went back to the office. I felt like, and I'll use this word poop because I don't like to swear, for the rest of that day. The next morning, he was out there again. So I said, come with me. So we went to the coffee shop together. I said, what do you want to eat? You know, what do you want to drink? I got that chance to redeem myself, luckily, on that particular instant. Another time I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. Same sort of thing. I'm walking by, and this woman is sitting on the sidewalk asking for money. I had a bunch of change in my pocket. And I don't know why that happens, right? Why do we do that? I walked on by. And again, ashamed. And I thought, okay, well, when I walk back, I'll give her the money. She wasn't there. I carry that with me. And I will carry that shame to the rest of my life. You don't always get a chance to redeem yourself. So don't delay. Make a difference now. I will just leave these thoughts with you this morning. Even though it's May and it's a long time till Christmas, I am a Dickens fan, and I love A Christmas Carol. And I use that story a lot in what I talk about. And one part of the Christmas Carol I love is the ghost of Christmas Present. And he's warning Scrooge. He opens up his robe, and there's 2 kids there that Dickens describes as abject, horrible, uses a bunch of bad words on how to describe these kids. And he said, these 2 are want and ignorance. Beware them both, but beware want the most. I think that my 2, if you will, abject, horrible kids would be ignorance and apathy. Ignorance and apathy. Luckily, that doesn't apply to anybody here because you wouldn't be here. But it applies to a lot of people who aren't here, who should be here, who should hear Anita's story, should hear about Nida's work, and about people who are being the victims of domestic violence, of people who are being turned out of their homes. They should be here. Not just lawyers, not just people from the legal community, but from the community at large. They should be here. Next year, it would be great if this room was not big enough, because all of you start spreading that word. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I need that choir to sing out to others so that all of us can make a difference, so that we can now hopefully bring a modicum of justice to those who've had their voices put down for too long. Thank you so much for letting me share these thoughts with you this morning.
Justice Mungia, wow. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with us. The stories, I think they're going to stay with us too. So thank you. Wow, I feel very inspired. And I think, when you hear those words, don't delay, because you'll never know when you'll have that next opportunity to make a difference. Thank you so much for all you've done today to do something. And we just want to give you a visual representation of all you've done for ELAP today. We're going to check in on our thermometer and see where we are. We are at $155,000. Yes, that's amazing. And here is the great news. I know some of you are very analog, so you're still getting your donations in, so we'll count those up. But the giving link is going to stay open until Saturday evening, so you can share this with your friends. Again, you text the number to text 44321. That's 44321, and it's ELAP 2025. So please share that with your friends. Let's get those matching gifts in, and I know we'll get to $200,000. So thank you so much. Now I would like to invite up ELAP's board president, Matthew Widmeyer, to wrap us up.
Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning. I've always wanted to do that, never had the opportunity until now, so thank you. Thank you, Angela. That was a great morning. So let's give it up for Angela Poe Russell, the MC for today. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Red Element Studios for the incredible moving video, and to Anita and Javed for helping on that and sharing Anita's story with us. Thank you to them. And then Nida, thank you for the work you do every day for ELAP and also sharing your story. And to have me go after Justice Mungia, those great stories you told, the reason you feel those things is because you're human, just like the rest of us. So thank you very much. And being the board president, I get to represent the board in front of all of you. I want to express my gratitude to Jerry Crone and all of the staff as well, who work hard every single day. Lastly, just to thank all of you for all of your generous support for this. The people that we represent are the people in our community that need our help the most. So thank you very much for that. Just to wrap it up, it's been an honor to be here today, to be on the board, and just it's so great that all of you are here donating, so thank you very much. Have a good morning.
All right, thank you so much, Matthew. And wow, because we started on time and we are out 10 minutes early, so enjoy socializing. Thank you so much for all you've done for ELAP today. Again, spread the word. Next year, we do want to be bursting at the seams. Have a wonderful morning, everyone. Take care.